Hi, my name is Jonathan. I transferred to UCI 2022 and I studied aerospace engineering. I'm from the Bay Area. I transferred from Contra Costa College. So some highlights from my transfer year. I lived at Arroyo Vista, which allowed me to meet a lot of people. And then of course, like coming out to A2F, I was able to make a lot of friends. I think some of the highlights are typically when I'm out late at night with friends. So there was one time I was back home and it was already late, 9 p.m. or something like that. Already, getting ready for bed. I get this message just like, hey, come on, let's go to the beach. I didn't really want to go because I was tired, but they're like, yeah, come on, let's go. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go. We go out to the beach. It was my first time kind of in a SoCal beach, which is actually really nice. It was a lot less windy than I remember it. Small group of maybe 5 of us or something like that, just watching the stars.
What was so memorable about that time?
I think I was going through a lot personally, in my personal life. Just having friends who were reaching out and hey, let's hang out. I think I was really able to appreciate, yeah. Yeah, I think one thing that was tough about being a transfer was coming in, you're so new to everything. It's like a freshman experience, except it's not really the freshman experience. For sure, you're kind of just thrown into the deep end. You're making friends from scratch all over again, right? Meeting new people, new place. I think one of the harder parts, academically, was just trying to figure out my schedule. I don't know, I always struggle with the academic counselors and getting them on the same page. Trying to figure out what my schedule would look like for the year and for senior year too. Yeah, one of the kind of trials or obstacles that I faced my transfer year was my dad passed away. And that was actually, it was in a really kind of tough time, especially academically. Near the end of my first quarter, while I'm still trying to figure things out, I'm stressed about exams and classes, and now I'm also, mourning the loss of a loved one. Of course, my family is so far, I can't really comfort them and be comforted in that way. Yeah, that time during my first quarter was a lot to go through, I think, mentally and emotionally. Yeah, I'm the type of person to isolate myself, especially when I'm going through a hard time. I don't want to be a bother to anyone. That event, it led to a separation and relation between my family. I didn't want to be a burden on them, calling and being sad. And yeah, there was definitely that tension there. Talking to my friends, talking to some of the older staff and older people at A2F. Yeah, they were able to give me some good advice, and I ultimately just had to swallow the pill and call my family and just kind of tell them everything that was going on and allow them to kind of share my burdens. And in that way, I could also share the weight of their burdens. Yeah, I had dinner one night with Nate. He was my mentor at the time. Yeah, I didn't know that Nate also lost his dad at a young age. He'd kind of gone through a similar experience to me. Well, I was sharing with him kind of how I was feeling. He was telling me about how he kind of experienced the same thing. Similar tendencies. The way that he fixed it was just reaching out. Even if you don't want to, even if you feel you're gonna be the burden, you don't want to be that burden, just reach out. Especially because, they're family. Having a good relationship with them before my dad passed, and then just kind of seeing the way that my relationship fell apart after didn't sit well with me, but I didn't really know what to do about it. Yeah, Nate just kind of gave me the obvious solution, which was just call them and talk with them. Ultimately, yeah, led to the restoration of our relationship, yeah. I don't know, there's something in my head that's don't be the burden to other people, which I still try and fight, I guess, because I know people, our church is very open in that way, and it's oh, come over to our house whenever, and I'm always no, I don't want to. Not that I don't want to, but I don't want to because I don't, want to invade your space, and I guess that's just kind of how I grew up. Yeah, I think it was more of just the reassurance that's what Nate did, brought his family back together. Yeah, one piece of advice that I have for incoming transfers is talk to everyone, to be honest. You don't know, in the next few days or next few weeks, this dude or that you didn't originally might just be your best friend, in the coming year, so you never know. For background, I'm typically very, introverted, so I don't like talking to a lot of people. Talk to more people, and just kind of put yourself out there, because I feel those first few months, I was very reserved. And I had good friendships, but I didn't have the friendships that I have now, and I think it would have been nice to establish those friendships a lot earlier. I think there are a lot of reasons to check out A2F. Things that we often do are like play sports, have food, eat good food, study the word. Yeah, so if you're interested in any of those, I would check us out.